Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining us today, 26-time NCAA All-American. She was a member of the U.S. junior national team from 2016 to 2021, which we can talk about in a sec. She was a captain for the 2018 U.S. junior Pan Pac team. She's a Cal Bear, and she is soon to be a Florida Gator. Today, we're sitting down with Izzy Ivey. Izzy, how's it going?
Great. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be back and dive into everything. So.
Let's start with this news of you're going to Florida. This is like a homecoming for you. You're from Florida. Your mom swam at Florida. Your mom trained with Anthony Nesty at Florida. In your own words, can you just, give us a description of what this means to you to be able to not only go back to UF, but to your home state of Florida, but to compete for the Gators as well?
Yeah, I think it's definitely just like a really cool, kind of beautiful, maybe poetic type of full circle moment. And I'm just really excited to have like my whole family there, the support system there, and UF is doing amazing things. And so I'm really excited to start with them. And the facilities have very much improved since I've last been there. So I'm so excited to have all these different resources. And yeah, it means the world. And I think that when I committed with Nesty over the phone and like him just saying what it meant to him made me even more confident in the decision of like, okay, like this is the best decision for me mentally, physically, and like to achieve my goals. And so I'm just really stoked about it. Like that, I don't even know what else to say besides I'm so excited and I'm so grateful for the opportunity and excited to be closer to home for sure instead of across the country. So
growing up, you posted the picture of you as a little kid with the Gator cheek tattoo, and as we mentioned, your mom and Nesty trained together at UF under Randy Reese. How embedded was Florida culture for you just growing up there? Did you train in that pool or in that facility as a club kid?
Yeah. So yes. Yeah, I was on Gator Swim Club until 2018. I switched club teams. But yeah, so I basically learned how to swim in that pool. And I just growing up, like I'm sure you've been there, but they have the national championship wall and mom's up there. So as a little kid, like having my mom up there on that wall and like seeing that every day. And, I was with the college team for a little bit, like growing up, like obviously like we pass, like the club team gets in after the college team, or like sometimes during breaks, like the college kids will swim on the club team. So it's always been around me, like the greatness, especially like, Beisel or Connor Dwyer. I'm really good friends with Ryan Lochte. So it's like having them as role models from such a young age was really cool. And so I think like to wear the Gator head and represent the Gators is just a really cool, like I said, full circle moment. But yeah, it's definitely been instilled in me. I would say my parents never forced me into swimming. It's actually like kind of a silly story, but in 2004, we were watching the Olympics and I pointed to the TV and was like, I want to do that. And so my parents took me out back and taught me how to swim. So it was never pushed on me. I definitely did a lot of sports growing up, but ultimately I chose swimming. And I'm sure my mom was excited a little bit, but she always jokes that I'm way better than she was at my age. And so there's like that friendly competition between us maybe a little bit, but she's really excited for me to be at Florida. And I think, she obviously has a lot of trust in Anthony Nesty as they've been really good friends all these years. And so it's just like a really cool family type situation. So
what were your mom's events? Are you faster than her in like every event now?
Yeah. Yes. But she was on the USA national team, I think, in 2 free and 2 fly. So those were her 2 main events. And then, she dabbled in, I'm sure, like the hundreds too of those strokes, but 2 free, 2 fly were her go-tos.
Do you know her times? Have you crushed them?
You want me to ask Mom?
Yes.
What are your times? What's your 2 fly, 2 free?
Short course 148.2,
Free
200 free, 159, 200 fly, 55, 100 fly, 48 low, 100 free, and then long course 56, 100 free, 101, 100 fly, 214, 200 fly, 202, 8, 200 free.
I'm faster than all that.
Yeah, she's way better.
Special guest. Bye, Mom.
Thank you to Mrs. Ivey. That was awesome. Wow. Those are legit times for when she swam.
Yeah. Just good. So yeah, like her and Nesty have these ridiculous Randy Reese stories, I'm sure like everyone has heard. And so growing up at the University of Florida, basically like living like 5 minutes from there and 18 years almost, like it's just a really cool thing to go back there and be with everyone for sure. And also like kind of I've been there like for most of Nesty's career, I would say. So it's like cool because last time I was there, like Troy was the head coach. So it's kind of cool to watch him progress and see what he's been able to do with the program.
Very exciting news about going to Florida. You're obviously, you've been at Cal for 4 years now, just finished up your degree, just graduated. There was obviously a lot of big news over the summer with Cal, with the OC Register putting out the story about Teri McKeever. I just wanted to get your perspective on on your experience with Teri and how that story coming out kind of affected the last year of your career at Cal.
Yeah, so actually like after NC2A, so after 2022 NC2As, I went on a pretty significant break. I didn't touch the water for a good amount of time, and it was just because I had a lot going on in my personal life and things that took priority over swimming. So actually I went and watched practice and the energy was really good. Jesse Moore had just joined the program, and so everything just looked really good. And so I was like, okay, like I'll be back. Can I come back tomorrow? Like, is that okay? And they were like, yeah, of course. And so we did practice. It ended at like 7:30 or 8, like something like that. And then literally we're all in the locker room changing, and the article hit. Like a lot of people were getting texted the article. I was one of the few people who didn't know it was coming out. It's very clear that everyone's had a very different experience based on, all the articles being shared. So I definitely, as soon as the article hit, I was like, okay, I'm going back on break. Like, I was just like, I can't, like, it was just a lot for me to process and really challenging. And I'm sure like everyone kind of had to process it in their own way. And for me, it was removing myself for the meantime. And then, it was pretty chaotic, and it's challenging watching your coach go through something like that and then your coach being removed, but also hearing some friends and teammates share things that I wouldn't have known about. Like I can't speak to the private conversations or phone calls or like anything like that really, because they were one-on-one. And so definitely hard. And I do have a lot of empathy for everyone involved. But yeah, now I'm just doing what's best for me, which is moving on and going somewhere else. But yeah, it was definitely it was shocking. I think it was very shocking for everyone. So
can you kind of take us through that last year from that point? So again, you're like, all right, I'm going back on break.
Yeah.
This is a lot. I know in the fall you were training with Abby and Alicia Wilson and the guys and under Durden. And so, just kind of take us through your swimming in the last year until now?
After Teri was put on leave, I called Durden and I was just basically like, I don't know what to do. I need advice. I've never talked to him. Abby gave me his phone number. And he was very helpful, and we kind of made the plan of he's gonna help me get in the portal. And I would train with him in the fall, because there was a lot of uncertainty on, like, this was before we were combined. There was a lot of uncertainty on like what that was gonna look like if like they elected like Jesse Moore as acting head coach, and like there's just a lot of change. And so Dave and I kind of made this plan that I would train with him in the fall, and we'll find my next place for me, basically, because I think I kind of made it clear as soon as I entered the portal, I was going to finish my last semester. I had 2 classes left, and it would be kind of silly to transfer somewhere else and like start almost completely over. So yeah, that was the plan. And then he called me again later on and was like, I've been asked to combine the program. Like, what are my thoughts? Stuff like that. And I was like, I mean, I'm very appreciative of what he did stepping up for the women's team. I think we kind of needed someone to really take charge in that sense and know that the women's program was going to be secure, if that makes sense, for this coming year. And so I think by combining the program, the women's side was very excited. I know they had been asking for that like all summer. They wanted to swim with the men's team. So it made a lot of people happy. And I'm, to my knowledge, I'm the only one who's transferring. A lot of people entered the portal, but are staying, except I think like 5th years next year are still like exploring their options. But yeah, this fall was very interesting. I didn't really swim like all summer. I didn't touch the water for like 5 months. Whoa.
You didn't touch the water for 5 months? Like, you were straight up out of the pool for 5 months?
Yeah, there was there was like one point where I think I did singles for like, I did mornings for like 3 weeks as I finished my summer class, and then I left and went home before summer nationals, like a week before they left, because I was like, I'm not going, focus on them, like get them ready type of thing. So I just went home. And another stupid like personal life event come crashing down, so I felt like I needed to be home. So I left and went home, and then I went to Mexico and did all these like fun things, because I was just not in a good place where swimming, if this makes any sense, swimming, I love the silence of the water. However, the silence got a little bit too loud for me this past year. So I stepped away. Yeah, 5 months. It was from NCs till like August. However long that is. If that's 5 months, maybe. But yeah, I was in the water like intermediately, but not like doubles, like grinding. It was very like, oh, I'll get in today, or maybe not. So definitely like coming back in August and being in the pro group, that's where I was put in the pro group. So yeah, like Abby and Ryan Murphy, Tom, Hunter, like just a great group of people who I learned so much from them. And it's so cool, like Ryan and I both being from Florida and like cracking jokes, but also like I learned so much from him, and I'm so appreciative of that. But I'll never forget, it was my first workout with the men's team. So at this point, it was a combined program, but in the beginning, it wasn't like, we weren't all together, 20, like all practices. So the men do this really intense Dryland circuit thing when you first get back on Tuesday and Thursdays. And it was my first time doing it. And I'll never forget, like it's like stations, and you like run to the next station, and I just threw up in front of everyone. Like I was so just like out of shape, be exhausted, like doing this men's workout. Like my boxing partner was like Tom or Ryan. Like, I'm getting like wrecked. And so, yeah, I threw up in front of everyone. And I just remember Dave like running. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, I tried to play it off all cool. I'm like, yeah, it just happens. Like, I'm fine. Like, whatever. And then I go right back into the boxing. But yeah, it was definitely some training I've never experienced. And so I'm very grateful to have learned from the men's team in general, because obviously they're national champions. There's so many Olympians, like, and even getting the opportunity to work with Dave was really cool. Yeah. And then World Cup, and then fall.
Okay, I have a few things. Yeah. One, I really appreciate that point about you like swimming because of the silence, but sometimes the silence is too, that can be a good and a bad thing, right? Especially if you're dealing with multiple personal issues that are just completely overwhelming. That's really an incredible insight. So just thank you for saying that.
Thanks.
B, give me a Tomism or a Murphyism from your time with them, because I know there's about a million.
Yeah. So Tom always went in my lane. We were lane buddies the whole fall. And yeah, he says a lot of unfiltered, interesting things. God, what are some things? I don't know. There were times when he would just get really like into it and like, come on, we gotta go, or like whatever it is. And I'm just like, okay, well, the one thing Tom, I'll give him shit for this. The one thing Tom, he would drink this like mud looking protein and just like, it smelled so bad. Like and I was always in his lane. And so I was just like, dude, like, please stop drinking that. Like, it smells so bad. I don't know if that's like a Tomism, but Ryan, I don't know. Ryan's just always there for a good time. Like he's very good at like, if I was very much like, I don't really want to swim today. Like he was very good at like, come on, this is a great opportunity. Like he was really good at like, not just me, but like the whole like pro group. He was really good at like picking us up and like getting us back on track, or like, you know, we were helping him get ready for Worlds. Well, like the college team was in Minnesota. So like doing his workouts and kind of just supporting one another. He's just a really cool guy. And I'm really appreciative of like if I asked a question to either him or Tom, like I asked Tom one day to help me with my breathing on fly. Like he stayed with me after practice and helped with me on that, or like asking Ryan about backstroke specifically. But also Ryan is really good at like everything. Like I was kind of shocked to learn that about him. Like he's not just a backstroker. Like Tuesdays are like our test set days, and we would have to get up on the block and do like a series of hundreds, and he did them all fly and was flying. Like I was very impressed with the times that he was putting up. And so it's just cool that like, sure, I can go to Tom for fly, but I can go to Ryan for back flying free, and then Abby for sprint free. Like it was just a really cool dynamic. So yeah, they're fun guys. They're crazy, but they're super fun.
Dude, people forget that Murphy almost won an NCAA title in the 2IM.
So I didn't know that. I think I'm like, shockingly, I'm not the youngest of the group. Hunter Armstrong is younger than me, which I didn't know, but I didn't really know like a lot of things about like their careers, because they were done with NCAA swimming when I got there. So in that sense, but I remember on my recruiting trip actually to Cal, like Ryan, Tom, and Nathan all came up to me at the dual meet and were talking to me, and I was like, they know who I am. Like, oh my, and I actually like talked to Ryan about that the other day, and he was like, I was probably asked to talk to you. I'm like, don't ruin that for me. Like you guys all came up and talked to me, and that was such a cool moment. So, but yeah, it's a really cool, and to like watch them have so much success and be able to, yeah, but no, I didn't know that he almost won 2IM. That's cool. No idea.
He goes 140 in the 200 yards IM.
Yeah, well, he and Destin have gone like pretty head to head in some IM workouts. So that, looking back, that doesn't really surprise me that he's done that.
Yeah. It's, he's only got, or, he's mostly a backstroker internationally, right? But it's like, yeah, he's, so anyway, Cal Pros. Last question about that. So I got to be there the day you guys did power efforts.
Yes.
Which, like, Cal power efforts to me are legendary, because when my brother was training on the team, like he would just like come home every Friday and be like, dude, power efforts today. Like, that's like Durden's forte, I feel like. But well, tell me about your favorite power effort, or your first power effort, or just like what makes that so unique.
So the one you watched was my first one at Durden. And so it was definitely like, I was with like Abby and then a sophomore, McKenna Stone. And so I was so just like, what, like 12 and a half, like all out. I was very confused, because like Abby would do that with Teri. So like she's very good at like the really short, like, whereas for me, I'm kind of like just scrambling. Like, I'm just, sprinting's not my thing. Like, I do not like the 50 free. I can't figure it out. So yeah, it was definitely really intense, but that was so fun. Like, the workout was so fun, and seeing like Dave and Marsh joined like halfway through, just like how excited they were, and like getting everyone amped up, and like the guys like celebrating like a 12 and a half, like, so silly, but it was just really cool. But it's definitely unique. Like, I will say, like, never really done anything like that. Like, sure, like throughout my 4 years I've gone in sprint group, but it was 25s. It wasn't like just to 12 and a half or 15. It was very like, and so it was like ultra sprint for me that day, which was so fun and so exciting. And it was cool to like have you there for sure and like capture it. And I think that you there, and then like having the coaches so amped, like the boys were just like stoked. And so their energy kind of like took over, and I fed into it. And so, yeah, very cool. Sprint days are super fun. Like, it's definitely something I don't do all the time, but when I do get the opportunity, it's like the most fun ever. So.
Dude, who doesn't love a sprint workout, right?
Yeah, like you can't go wrong. Like, yeah.
So moving forward, so you're heading to Florida. You're going to compete for them in the 23-24 season. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're heading down there soon. I think you're packing up your apartment in Berkeley right now. So heading to Gainesville soon. What academically, what are you doing? Are you pursuing a master's?
Yes. So it's I'm getting a master's degree from their business school. And it's a master's in management. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm excited about it. Like, the program specifically for people who didn't get their undergrad in business. So it's not like I'm just getting thrown into it. And then it's half of the MBA program. So if I choose to pursue an MBA, I only have another half to complete, like another year. So I have that option from this university, which is really a cool opportunity. And both my parents, my mom and my dad, work in sales. So they've been pushing for business since my undergrad. And I wasn't that into it, but like all schools I was looking at during the recruitment process, I was looking at their business school or their public health school. And then the business one just caught my eye the most. It was new, it was exciting. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Master's in management.
What was your undergrad in?
Interdisciplinary studies, which is like an independent research thesis. So I'm writing a thesis right now on like COVID and like things that affected or whatever. So yeah, very interesting. I would say my undergrad it's interdisciplinary, but which means you like pull a bunch of majors. So it's very like public health, psychology, sociology focused.
Okay. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. I was hoping you were going to say like painting.
I did. Well, no.
It's like very unbusiness related.
Yeah, not too far off, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So in terms of your swimming, again, yes, you're going to compete for UF one year. Do you see yourself wanting to continue after that, like through trials, after
Yeah.
trials?
I'll definitely compete through trials. I think like NIL has offered a lot of cool opportunities where like you can start talking to like swim brands and stuff. So I'm currently talking with a couple, which is really exciting, and like talking about what it would look like when I'm done with collegiate swimming. And right now we're just talking about like through 2024 trials, and we'll see like what happens from there. So I don't really know. Like, I guess depending on how Olympic trials go, we'll see if I keep going. But I definitely like, I haven't had so much success long course as I've had short course over the past couple years. And I think that's more like a mental block for me. And so I think like being able, at least in the spring, being able to really train with like the Florida pro group, and kind of similarly to how I did at Cal, like just ask a lot of questions and really race people and learn from them, is going to be really good for me in my long course section of life. So yeah, maybe we'll see. I don't know. I'll definitely go to trials in 2024 for sure. So
Yeah, that Florida pro group's looking fairly mediocre right now. So
yeah. Terrible. No, they're crazy. They're so cool. And I think it's cool to see that, like, so like obviously growing up in Florida, like knowing Caleb from such a young age and watching him, and same with like Bobby Fink, like he was just across the way. Like we would go to silly like futures or like all those fun meets together, and like I would see him every now and then. But just seeing how much they've grown and all the success they've had is so cool. And just me getting the opportunity to learn and swim with them, like I said, is really special. And so I just think it's cool that like at World Cup, like Ledecky came up to me and she was like, "I'm so excited," and I was like, I'm excited. I'm honored that you're excited for me. Like what? Like, so it's just like it's a really cool, like tight knit group that I'm excited. And same on like the women's team, like the college women's team, like they all have a really cohesive goal, which I think Cal has, in my experience, Cal has kind of lacked that the past 2 years, where no one's really like on the same page almost, or like no one knows each other's goals. So it was kind of hard to like uplift and push one another. Whereas like Florida does a really good job of like weekly meetings, and like the girls always hang out and like stuff like that. So I'm just excited to join in and have a goal to chase, of not just individually, but as a team, because I kind of struggle with the individualness of the sport sometimes. Like I prefer to compete for a team, so I'm excited to do that for sure.
So you did sprint group at Cal. you hopping in the distance group with Katie and Bobby.
Actually, funny story. Like in 2021, so 2020, 2021 NCs, I did all hundreds. Like I did fly back and free at NCs, but I was actually in the distance group at Cal. So I was never really in the sprint group. I did, and somehow my 100 free was pretty good. Like I went 46, so I was like pretty stoked about that. But it was like, yeah, I would go in like the 500 group and do their set, but mine was a little different. Like I would have to go to 15 underwater, or like kind of, yeah. So it was just, mine was just a little different, but it was, we'll see. I mean, I'm down for whatever. Like I'm open. I'm totally open. Distance group, I might get lapped, but hey, I'll learn something and be better from it. So yeah.
All right. Well, I can't argue with that. Izzy, thank you so much for your time. We got about 2 minutes left. Is there any parting thoughts that you have for our audience before we sign off today?
I don't think so. Thanks for the opportunity. I love being on your guys' podcast. It's always a good time.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.